Hi, I'm Michael Hyam with the Business Exchange. Today we're at the annual IFA convention in Las Vegas at the MGM. I have Joseph Adler with me today. He's a partner at Hoffer Adler and the general counsel for the Canadian Franchise Association. My question for you today, Joseph, is what are the legal aspects to when purchasing an existing, already established business?
Okay, well, I guess the first thing you really want to know and be sure of is that it's a business that you would want to operate. Is it the kind of business that you feel comfortable doing in the long run, or is it something that you think you can't stand for 10 hours a day, flipping burgers or whatever? You got to be absolutely sure that it's the business for you. If it is, you then have to determine whether or not it's actually financially viable. So the way to do that is by getting as much financial information from the vendor as possible to determine whether or not it's something that actually can make you some money, and that's where you can get a return on your investment. Of course, the vendor will sometimes be concerned about confidentiality, and they may not give you a lot of information. They may want you to have some kind of offer prepared or a deposit made, and that's where you need to talk to your lawyer to be absolutely sure that you're comfortable entering into that kind of arrangement, because sometimes deposits are not refundable. Once you get that information, your financial information, you should speak to your accountant to make sure that it's a business that could make money for you. If at that point you feel confident that it could, then you would have your lawyer prepare an agreement of purchase and sale. Typically it's an agreement to purchase assets and not shares of the company. And that agreement would be designed to give you as much protection as possible and to encourage or to cause the vendor to provide you with as much representations and warranties and covenants about the existing business, because after all, the vendor is the one that has all the information in its head or in records, and it's making representations to the purchaser. So you put together that very hopefully extensive agreement that will cover all aspects of the business, and then present it to the vendor and the vendor's lawyer. There's some negotiation on the agreement, and then you move forward on that basis. Depending on the nature of the business, you may need a liquor license approval or for a transfer of the license. There may be other regulatory issues that you may want to address as well, or you need to address. You typically would incorporate a company for the purposes of purchasing the business, and you may have to, if it's a retail operation at a store, review the existing lease, confirm that it's actually a lease that could be transferred, and if the landlord would consent to the transfer. And there's other agreements as well that you may assume which will need the approval of the other entities who have entered into that agreement, or those agreements with the vendor. Those are all agreements that would be reviewed by your lawyer, the purchaser's lawyer. And so after all that is done, you have a due diligence period. You conduct all your searches. You make sure that the assets are free and clear of any liens and encumbrances. You then prepare the closing documents, and you're ready to close the deal. So there's a fairly lengthy process of documentation, negotiation, and ultimately, hopefully, a successful conclusion to the deal.
Perfect.